English podcast from the English Charisma channel.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of English Charisma. I'm Leo, and today we're diving into one of those topics that everyone thinks about but rarely understands: happiness. What really makes us happy? Not the fake Instagram version, not the everything's perfect smile, but the real kind.
And I'm Ava. I love this topic, Leo, because it's something we all chase, right? We all want to be happy, but sometimes it feels like the more we try, the harder it gets. I've had days where I thought, okay, I've got everything I wanted, so why don't I feel happy?
Exactly. I think that's one of the biggest questions of our time. We've got technology, comfort, access to everything, but we're also more anxious and restless than ever. Maybe happiness isn't about having more. Maybe it's about seeing what's already there.
That hits hard. I remember when I was younger, I used to think happiness was something you had to find, like it was hiding somewhere out there, waiting for me. But now I think it's more about how you see things. Like two people can live the same day. One feels grateful, the other feels miserable. The day didn't change, the mindset did.
That's such an interesting way to put it. I've met people who have very little, but they seem peaceful, calm in a way that feels almost rare. They laugh easily, they don't overthink, and they appreciate small moments. Then you meet people who have everything, and they still feel empty inside. It's like happiness isn't something you get, it's something you learn.
Yes, and it's not constant either. People think being happy means feeling amazing all the time. But that's not real life. Real happiness has quiet moments, sad moments, even boring ones. It's more like a background feeling, like you know deep down that life is okay, even when it's not perfect.
I like that idea. Happiness as a background feeling. It reminds me of music. Sometimes it's loud, sometimes soft, but it's always there if you listen. Maybe that's what we've forgotten: how to listen to life instead of always trying to fix it.
That's beautifully said. Maybe we can start by looking at the things that make us feel alive, even in small ways. A walk, a call from a friend, laughing at something silly. Those moments might be the real definition of happiness.
I couldn't agree more. All right, let's unpack that idea in today's talk. What really makes us happy? Not what we're told to chase, but what actually works in real life. Stick around, it's going to be a good one. You know, I think we've made happiness way too complicated. Everyone's chasing the next big thing: a better job, a new phone, a vacation, more likes. But once we get it, the feeling fades so fast. It's like drinking salty water when you're thirsty. You keep going for more, but you're never satisfied. Maybe happiness isn't about adding things. Maybe it's about subtracting, removing what drains us.
That's such an interesting thought. I used to think happiness meant having everything in control: a clear plan, a stable routine, success. But when I finally had all that, I realized I was just tired. It was peace that I was actually looking for, not excitement. Sometimes happiness is just not being at war with yourself.
That line hits deep. Not being at war with yourself. That's powerful. We spend so much time fighting our own thoughts, comparing ourselves, trying to be someone else. But when you stop doing that, even for a few minutes, you can actually breathe. Maybe happiness starts the moment we stop trying to prove something.
Completely. I remember once I was walking home late, no music, no phone, just quiet. And I suddenly felt this calm, like everything was okay, even if nothing had changed. It wasn't joy, it wasn't excitement, it was just peace. I think that's the kind of happiness that lasts, the one that doesn't depend on anything external.
Yeah, it's strange how silence can be louder than noise sometimes. People try to fill every second with sound, scrolling, notifications, but maybe that's why they miss the moments that matter. You can't notice the beauty in a sunset if you're staring at your phone.
Exactly. I think our attention is the real currency of happiness. Whatever we give it to grows. If we focus on what's missing, that grows. If we focus on what's good, that grows too. It's like watering the right plant.
And that's something we can all practice. You don't have to meditate for hours or read self-help books. You can just pause for a second, look around, and ask, what's good right now? Sometimes it's as simple as realizing the air feels nice or your coffee smells amazing.
Those moments are everything. They connect us back to life. And honestly, that's what I love about doing this podcast. We get to talk about things that sound simple, but can completely change the way you feel. By the way, if you're listening and this conversation makes you think or smile, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to English Charisma. It really helps us keep sharing more of these talks with you.
Yeah, and maybe even share it with someone who's been feeling stuck lately. You never know how a small message like this might help them remember that happiness doesn't have to be far away. Sometimes it's already here. We just need to slow down enough to see it.
That's such a comforting thought. I think in the next part, we should delve into what really blocks people from feeling happy, not just what creates happiness, but what stops it. Because understanding that is half the journey.
Perfect idea. Let's go there next. Let's talk about what actually gets in the way of happiness. Because sometimes it's not that we don't know what makes us happy, it's that we can't get past everything that blocks it. I think one of the biggest obstacles is comparison. It's like this silent poison that seeps into everything. You open social media and suddenly your own life feels smaller. You see people smiling, traveling, achieving things, and you start wondering, why not me? But what we forget is that those pictures are just moments, not lives. We compare our behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel.
That's so true. I used to spend hours scrolling, looking at other people's lives, and I didn't even realize how much it was shaping my own sense of worth. I'd see someone's new apartment or vacation, and I instantly feel like I was behind. But one day I asked myself, behind who? On what path? Happiness disappears the moment you start measuring your life against someone else's timeline, because there's no universal finish line. We're all walking different roads, and it's impossible to be late on your own journey.
Exactly. Comparison is endless because no matter how much you achieve, there's always someone with a little more. More money, more followers, more success, more everything. But when you stop comparing suddenly, you can breathe again. You start to notice your own progress. You realize how far you've come. And that's where happiness grows, in that quiet space between gratitude and acceptance.
I love that. The space between gratitude and acceptance. I think another thing that blocks happiness is overthinking. We replay conversations, regret things we can't change, and worry about things that might never happen. Our minds become so loud that we can't hear the moment we're in. I remember someone told me, you can't be happy and overthinking at the same time. That hit me hard because every time I overthink, I lose the simple joy of being.
I can relate to that so much. Overthinking is like driving with the handbrake on. You're moving, but it's exhausting, and you're not really going anywhere. Happiness requires a bit of surrender, to trust that not everything needs to be solved right now. Sometimes life figures itself out if you just stop fighting it for a moment.
That's wisdom right there. I used to believe happiness was about control, about having everything planned, but now I see it's about flow. The happiest people I've met aren't the ones who control every detail. They're the ones who can adapt. They let life surprise them. They bend instead of break.
Yeah, it's like when you're standing in the ocean. If you fight the waves, they'll knock you down. But if you move with them, you stay afloat. Maybe that's what happiness really is, learning to move with life instead of against it.
And that includes accepting who you are. Self-acceptance is one of the hardest lessons, but also one of the most freeing. I spent years thinking I had to become someone better before I deserved to feel happy. But the truth is, happiness starts when you stop waiting for a better version of yourself, when you realize that you're already enough, even with all your imperfections.
That's a message people need to hear more often. There's so much pressure to fix yourself, to become more productive, more positive, more confident. But it never ends. It's like chasing the horizon. You'll never reach it. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is, I'm doing my best. That's not weakness. That's peace.
Peace is such an underrated word. People say they want to be happy, but what they really mean is they want to feel peaceful. Because peace lasts longer than excitement. It's quieter, deeper. It's what you feel when you're alone and you're not afraid of the silence.
Exactly. Happiness that depends on excitement fades. But peace, that's the kind that stays, even on the hard days. It's when you know you can handle life. You might not love every part of it, but you're not running from it either.
You know, I once met an old man when I was traveling. He was sitting outside a small cafe, just smiling at the world. I asked him what made him so happy, and he said, I stopped asking for more. That sentence never left me. It sounded simple, but I think it's everything. Maybe happiness begins the moment we stop demanding that life should always be different.
That's beautiful. It reminds me of something my grandmother used to say. Joy doesn't live in the future, it hides in your ordinary days. I never understood it when I was younger, but now I do. It's not about chasing new things. It's about seeing old things with new eyes.
Yes, and that's something we can practice every single day. Just looking around and noticing small details. The smell of rain, the laughter of a friend, the comfort of your own space. Those things are the real moments of happiness. They don't ask for attention, but they're always there waiting for us to notice.
You know, maybe that's the trick, learning to notice. Happiness isn't hidden, it's just quiet. And the more you slow down, the easier it is to hear it. I think people who learn that don't need a perfect life anymore. They just live, and that's enough.
That's the best kind of happiness. The one that doesn't need a reason. The one that just exists because you do.
Beautifully said. All right, in the next part, let's explore how connection, our relationships, our sense of belonging, plays a huge role in how happy we feel. Because happiness isn't just inside us, it's between us too.
I can't wait for that part. Let's get into it.
Let's talk about connection. I think one of the most powerful sources of happiness isn't money, success, or even achievements. It's the people around us. Friends, family, partners, mentors, anyone who makes you feel seen and understood. When we feel connected, even simple moments feel full. And when we lack connection, even beautiful experiences feel empty. By the way, if you're enjoying this episode, please like the video and subscribe to English Charisma so we can keep sharing more conversations like this.
Absolutely. Relationships shape how we see the world. When you're with someone who truly listens, who laughs with you and supports you without judgment, life feels lighter. And it's not about having a lot of people. Even one meaningful connection can change your perspective entirely.
Exactly. Sometimes we underestimate how much a single conversation can matter. Talking about your day, your thoughts, your worries, it's like opening a window for fresh air. It clears your mind and your heart.
I remember a time when I felt completely stuck. Everything seemed meaningless, and I thought happiness was out of reach. Then a friend just sat with me, listened without advice, and it changed everything. I didn't feel better because of anything external. I felt better because I was heard.
That's the magic of human connection. It reminds us that we're not alone. Even when life is hard, knowing someone is there makes everything easier. And that's where relationships are often more important than achievements. You can reach all your goals, but without meaningful connections, it can feel hollow.
Exactly, and it goes both ways. When we give our attention, care, and kindness to others, it boosts our own happiness too. There's something deeply fulfilling in making someone else's life brighter.
Right. It's like a loop. Happiness grows when it's shared. And I think that's why people who volunteer, mentor, or simply help a friend feel more alive than those who only chase personal gain. We're wired for connection.
And it's not just close relationships. Even small interactions matter. A smile to a stranger, a compliment to a coworker, or a short chat with someone on the bus, these little sparks can lift your mood unexpectedly.
Exactly. Life is full of these small opportunities to connect, and they're often free, yet they give so much back. That's why practicing awareness and kindness every day can make such a difference.
I love how simple that sounds when you put it like that. But simple doesn't mean easy. It takes effort to notice people, to listen actively, to be kind without expecting anything.
True, but even small steps count. And over time, those small steps build a network of meaningful experiences that shape real happiness.
That's why I think gratitude and connection are inseparable. You notice what others do for you and you value it. That awareness multiplies the joy.
Exactly. And speaking of awareness, another part of happiness is balance. Not everything needs to be intense or exciting. Sometimes the happiest moments are ordinary. Having a quiet dinner with a friend, watching clouds, reading a book, those times are the soil where joy grows.
I love that. Happiness grows quietly, like a plant. You water it with attention, gratitude, and care, and it flourishes naturally.
And before we move on to the last part of the series, I want to remind everyone listening again, please like the video and subscribe to English Charisma. It really helps us create more episodes like this and spread these ideas to more people.
Very true. And if you take even one idea from today, noticing small moments, connecting with people, or just slowing down, it can already start making a difference.
Exactly. And in the final part, we'll explore how habits, routines, and personal growth influence happiness, the ways we can actively shape our own well-being.
I can't wait to dive into that.
Let's explore habits and routines. I think one of the most overlooked sources of happiness is what we do every day. People chase big changes, but happiness often grows in the small, repeated actions, like waking up and making your bed, or taking a short walk in the morning, or even just drinking a glass of water mindfully. These little things build a foundation that your mood can rest on.
Exactly. It's funny how tiny actions can have a huge impact. I started journaling a few minutes every morning, writing down 3 things I'm grateful for. At first, it felt silly, almost like a ritual without meaning. But after a few weeks, I noticed a change. I was calmer, more aware, and I actually started looking for positive moments instead of waiting for them to happen.
That's exactly it. Habits train the mind. And when you build habits that encourage noticing good things, gratitude, and presence, you create your own happiness environment. It's like tending a garden. If you water it, remove weeds, and give it sunlight, it flourishes naturally.
I love that image. And habits aren't just for noticing positives, they're also for taking care of yourself physically. Sleep, movement, nutrition, they might sound basic, but they affect your emotions more than most people realize. Poor sleep or skipping meals can make small problems feel huge, while regular routines make it easier to respond calmly to life's challenges.
And it's not about perfection. It's about consistency. You don't need to meditate 2 hours every day or run a marathon. Even 10 minutes of mindfulness or a short walk or writing down your thoughts, those small practices add up. They shape your brain, your focus, and your sense of well-being over time.
That's why I think self-awareness is key. When you understand yourself, you can create routines that actually help you feel good. It's different for everyone. One person might feel happiest jogging, another painting, another cooking. What matters is identifying what nourishes you and committing to it regularly.
And let's not forget reflection. Regularly looking back at your day, your choices, and your feelings, even for 5 minutes, can help you notice patterns that bring joy or stress. When you understand the triggers for your happiness, you can repeat what works and reduce what doesn't.
I also think there's a social aspect to routines. Connecting with others, even briefly, can create long-term happiness. A daily phone call, a weekly coffee, or a short message to someone you care about strengthens bonds and reminds you that you're not alone.
Exactly. And speaking of connection, I want to remind our listeners again, if you're enjoying this episode, please like the video and subscribe to English Charisma. Supporting the channel allows us to keep creating these conversations and sharing ideas that can actually improve your daily life.
Yes, thank you for that. And even beyond habits, I think another big factor is purpose. People often chase pleasure or comfort, but happiness deepens when you feel that your life has meaning. It doesn't have to be something monumental. Even helping a neighbor, mentoring someone, or learning a new skill can give your day purpose.
Purpose is powerful. It gives context to our struggles, makes hard days feel worthwhile, and motivates us to keep going. And when purpose is combined with gratitude, connection, and healthy habits, it creates a strong foundation for long-term happiness.
Exactly. And the final piece I want to mention is acceptance. Accepting yourself, your life, and the unpredictability of the world doesn't mean giving up. It means letting go of unnecessary resistance. When you stop fighting reality, you free energy to focus on what you can control, your attitude, your choices, and how you spend your time.
Yes. And acceptance doesn't make you passive. It makes you strategic. You see clearly what's possible, and then you take intentional action without wasting energy on what can't be changed. That kind of clarity creates calm, and calm creates happiness that isn't dependent on circumstances.
And when you combined clarity, purpose, routine, connection, and gratitude, you create an environment where happiness isn't random. It becomes something you cultivate, nurture, and sustain.
That's the real lesson. Happiness isn't something you stumble upon, it's something you build every day, step by step. And even when life gets messy, the tools we've discussed, gratitude, connection, purpose, mindfulness, habits, help us stay grounded and resilient.
Exactly. And that's why these conversations matter, because knowing what works and practicing it regularly changes the way we live. Happiness isn't magic, it's deliberate.
Beautifully said. And that wraps up part 5. In the next part, we'll explore challenges and obstacles in maintaining happiness, how life tests us, and how to keep these practices even when things get difficult. Let's talk about challenges. Because one of the biggest reasons people feel unhappy isn't lack of knowledge or tools. It's life itself. Unexpected events, failures, heartbreaks, stress, these things test our ability to stay grounded. But I think this is where the practices we've discussed, gratitude, connection, purpose, routines, really show their value. They don't make challenges disappear, but they give us a framework to respond rather than react.
Absolutely. Life isn't linear, and happiness isn't constant. Sometimes, even with all the right habits, you'll have rough days, and that's okay. The key is not letting those days define you. It's recognizing that feelings are temporary, like weather patterns. You can be mindful of them without being controlled by them.
Exactly. And part of managing challenges is expectation. We often assume life should be fair, that if we work hard or try to do the right things, everything will go smoothly. But reality doesn't follow our expectations. Accepting that life is unpredictable reduces frustration and disappointment, which is a huge component of sustainable happiness.
That's a lesson I've learned the hard way. For years, I believed if I planned everything perfectly, I'd be happy. But when things inevitably went off course, I'd panic. Over time, I realized that flexibility, learning to bend without breaking, is more valuable than perfect control. Happiness comes from adaptability.
And it's also about perspective. When something goes wrong, you can focus on what's lost, or you can look at what remains, what can be learned, and what opportunity still exists. That doesn't mean ignoring pain. It means acknowledging it, learning from it, and moving forward without being trapped.
Exactly. And connecting with others during challenges is critical. Sharing struggles with someone who listens or understands can transform a heavy burden into something manageable. Humans are wired through support. Trying to carry everything alone often intensifies suffering.
Yes, and that's why building a supportive environment is as important as building personal habits. Both feed happiness. Surround yourself with people who encourage, challenge, and support you, and your resilience grows.
And sometimes the obstacles themselves become teachers. Failure, rejection, or loss can deepen appreciation for the good times. They can show you strengths you didn't know you had and make small joys feel extraordinary.
Exactly. That's the paradox of happiness. Adversity can be a teacher. It's painful in the moment, but it strengthens perspective, gratitude, and connection, all essential ingredients for long-term well-being.
And let's not forget self compassion. When things go wrong, many people are their own harshest critics. But treating yourself with kindness, acknowledging that everyone struggles, is essential. It reduces unnecessary suffering and allows you to recover faster.
Absolutely. And I think this ties back to acceptance. Accepting the unpredictability of life, your own limitations, and the lessons and challenges frees you to focus on what's meaningful. It's a mindset that doesn't deny pain, but doesn't let pain dominate either.
Yes, and keeping the bigger picture in mind helps too. Life is long, and any single difficulty is just one part of the story. Happiness is found in the ongoing narrative, the small victories, the connections, the growth, and even the lessons from hardship.
Exactly. And before we move on, I want to remind our listeners again, if you're enjoying this journey, please like the video and subscribe to English Charisma. It helps us continue sharing these ideas that make life more meaningful.
Thank you for that. And as we move to the next part, we'll dive into how personal growth and intentional living, shaping our mindset and routines, solidify happiness and make it more resilient, even when life tests us.
Let's go deeper into personal growth and how it connects to happiness. Growth isn't always comfortable. It often begins with discomfort, realizing something in your life isn't working or you've outgrown an old pattern. But that moment of awareness is powerful. It's the start of real change.
That's so true. I think many people confuse comfort with happiness. They chase situations that feel safe and predictable, but happiness, the lasting kind, often requires stepping into uncertainty, learning new skills, meeting new people, taking chances. Growth might be uncomfortable, but it gives you pride, confidence, and meaning.
Exactly. And I think happiness is closely tied to that sense of progress. When you feel you're moving forward, even just a little, you feel alive. It doesn't have to be huge achievements. It can be learning a language, improving your health, or becoming more patient.
Yes, progress creates momentum. When you see yourself improving, you begin to trust yourself more. That trust fuels more action, and that cycle builds inner stability, which leads to deeper happiness.
And that's why reflection is so important in personal growth. Without it, you can't see how far you've come. Taking time to look back at your journey reminds you that you're evolving. It also helps you notice the habits and decisions that truly make you happy so you can repeat them intentionally.
Exactly. And I think people underestimate how much mindset shapes growth. If you believe change is possible, you'll act differently. You'll take more risks, learn from mistakes, and be kinder to yourself. That's what psychologists call a growth mindset. It's not about perfection, it's about being willing to try, fail, and try again.
Yes, and happiness thrives in that space. When you're open to learning from life instead of resisting it, everything becomes an opportunity. Even failure loses its sting. It becomes information, not identity.
Beautifully said. And this connects to purpose again. Growth gives life direction. When you grow intentionally, when your actions match your values, you feel a strong sense of alignment. That feeling, that sense of living according to what truly matters to you is incredibly fulfilling.
And that alignment is rare these days. So many people live according to outside expectations, what society, family, or social media tells them they should want. But true happiness comes from discovering what genuinely matters to you and shaping your life around it.
That's such a good point. I used to chase external goals, money, recognition, status, because I thought they'd bring happiness. But the more I got, the emptier I felt. It was only when I started focusing on experiences, learning, and connection that I felt a real sense of joy.
Exactly. It's like climbing a ladder and realizing it's leaning against the wrong wall. You reach the top, but you're still not happy because it wasn't your wall. Personal growth is about finding the right wall, your own.
And when you find it, every step feels meaningful. Even the hard days make sense. You stop comparing yourself to others and start asking, am I becoming a better version of me? That shift changes everything.
Yes, and it's not just mental. Growth affects how you treat people, too. When you're at peace with yourself, you become kinder, more patient, and more empathetic. That spreads happiness beyond you. It becomes contagious.
Absolutely. It's the ripple effect. One person growing, healing, and becoming more self-aware can inspire everyone around them. Happiness then becomes collective, something we share, not just chase individually.
That's a beautiful thought. Because at the end of the day, we all influence each other. Your growth doesn't just make you happier, it creates an environment where others can feel supported to grow too.
That's perfectly said. In the next part, we'll explore how to sustain that happiness, how to keep it alive in the long term without depending on motivation or external factors.
Today, we're continuing our deep dive into happiness. We've explored what it is, what blocks it, and how growth shapes it. Now let's talk about sustaining happiness, the kind that lasts even when life isn't perfect.
Yes, sustainable happiness. It's different from short bursts of joy, like getting good news or eating your favorite dessert. Those moments are great, but they fade. Long-term happiness is more subtle. It's about a steady sense of well-being, a quiet contentment that stays with you.
Exactly, and balance is the first ingredient for this. People often push too hard or over-focus on comfort. True happiness comes from knowing when to act and when to rest, when to give and when to receive. It's a constant negotiation with yourself and life.
Totally. And balance also means accepting imperfection. Some days will be rough, and that's okay. Happiness isn't feeling amazing all the time. It's about maintaining a baseline of emotional stability even when things fluctuate.
Yes, think of it like a campfire. You need to feed it consistently to keep it burning. Habits, routines, mindfulness, gratitude, they're the fuel that keeps the fire of happiness alive.
Exactly. Even small practices matter. A 5-minute morning reflection, noticing one positive thing, or connecting with a friend can keep your happiness steady. It's cumulative.
And presence is key. Life is happening right now, and we often miss it while chasing the next thing. Mindfulness, really paying attention to the moment, helps happiness become sustainable.
Yes, and nurturing relationships is part of that too. Strong connections with family, friends, or even colleagues provide consistent support. They're the anchors that keep us grounded.
And protecting your peace is important. Let go of toxic relationships or environments. Sustainable happiness requires space to grow without constant negativity.
Exactly. It's a mix of inner work, habits, gratitude, presence, and outer work, connections, boundaries, and choices. Together, they make happiness resilient.
And again, if you're enjoying this conversation, please like the video and subscribe to English Charisma. Your support helps us continue sharing ideas that improve daily life.
Thank you. And remember, happiness isn't found at the finish line. It's in the small, intentional actions we take every day.
Now that we've talked about sustaining happiness, let's explore building it intentionally. Not random moments of joy, but a life designed for happiness.
Yes, it starts with awareness, noticing what truly matters to you, what activities, people, or routines give you energy. When you understand that, you can structure your life around it.
And it's not about doing everything perfectly. Even small, consistent steps matter. Daily gratitude, connecting with loved ones, setting realistic goals, these accumulate over time.
Exactly. And challenges will come, but the habits you build act as scaffolding. They support you, remind you of your values, and keep you aligned with what brings meaning.
Another factor is learning to let go. Holding on to grudges, regrets, or unachievable expectations drains energy. Sustainable happiness comes from releasing what you can't control and focusing on what you can.
Yes, acceptance doesn't mean giving up. It means choosing your energy wisely. You can act intentionally without wasting it on unnecessary battles.
And growth is continuous. Happiness isn't static, it evolves as we evolve. Learning, reflecting, and adapting are essential for long-term fulfillment.
Exactly. And sharing happiness amplifies it. Supporting others, showing kindness, celebrating someone else's success, all of that creates a positive cycle that returns to you.
And as a reminder, sustainable happiness also involves caring for your physical and mental health. Exercise, sleep, nutrition, and mindfulness create the foundation on which all other happiness builds.
Right. It's holistic, mind, body, heart, and spirit. Ignoring any one piece can make the whole structure unstable.
And finally, let's wrap this up. After everything we've discussed, gratitude, presence, connection, purpose, growth, acceptance, what's the secret to real happiness?
I think it's living deliberately, choosing how to spend your time, attention, and energy, aligning daily actions with your values, not waiting for happiness to arrive, creating it step by step.
Yes, and understanding the happiness isn't constant, but that's okay. There will be tough days, but the practices we've talked about, reflection, habits, connection, purpose, keep your foundation strong.
And the final piece is sharing. Happiness multiplies when you give it away. Your kindness, your support, your presence, they ripple out and create more joy than you can imagine.
Beautifully said. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey, and if you haven't yet, please like the video and subscribe to English Charisma. It helps us continue making episodes that help you live happier, more intentional lives.
Yes, thank you all. Remember, happiness isn't found in perfection, wealth, or status. It's built in your daily choices, in your connections, and in how you fully live each moment.
Exactly. Stay curious, stay kind, and keep creating your own happiness. See you next time on English Charisma.